Venezuelans are protesting the re-election of Nicolás Maduro as president of the country. Within the country, 16 protesters have been killed and 92 have been injured, according to the human rights group Foro Penal and Hospital Surveys. The public ministry reported that more than 1,200 people have also been detained. Earlier today, Venezuelans from the diaspora began protests in places like Brazil, outside the Foreign Ministry office of the Venezuelan government.
Te pedimos en el nombre de Jesucristo, Señor, y declaramos la libertad de Venezuela. Yo soy misionero en este país, soy del Estado Bolívar. ¡Libertad! 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 ¡Libertad!
Nicolás Maduro was re-elected president of Venezuela earlier this week, revalidating his mandate for at least 6 years. He has held power since the death of his predecessor, Hugo Chavez, in 2013. The Electoral Council's early results show Maduro received about 51% of the vote, while opposition candidate Mundo Gonzalez received 44%. The opposition rejected the results and claimed that Gonzalez had actually received 70% of the vote. And the Gonzalez camp is also claiming that Maduro hacked this voting system. Meanwhile, Maduro dismissed the concerns of those questioning his victory and accused the right-wing opposition of attempting to stage a fascist coup. The unrest has increased in intensity since the election, with protesters loudly condemning what they view as significant electoral fraud. They are calling on Maduro to release voting data. In a press conference, Maduro blamed the United States for the unrest in Venezuela.
Decirlo todo. Nosotros negociamos de buena fe con Estados Unidos. Estados Unidos no cumplió nada. Son unos mentirosos y farsantes. No tienen palabra ni cuando la firman. Y lo que estaban aprovechando la negociación es para echarnos tierrita en los ojos. Casi el 80% de los migrantes que aceptamos que regresaran en vuelos de Estados Unidos están en el ataque criminal, han sido capturados. En Nueva Esparta, por ejemplo.
Maduro said that the opposition leader should be imprisoned for inciting post-election violence and attempting to destabilize his government. The United States is also clearly taking sides. Secretary of State Antony Blinken released a statement saying that, given the overwhelming evidence, it is clear to the United States and, most importantly, to the Venezuelan people that Mundo Gonzalez Urrutia won the most votes in Venezuela's July 28 presidential election. The United States, European Union, and other G7 countries have urged President Maduro's government to release detailed voting data. Due to this mounting international pressure, Maduro has promised to make public all the vote counts, but has not released them so far. His party, the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, PSUV, has governed for the past 2 decades. During this time, it has seized control of key institutions, including much of the judiciary, the Electoral Council, and the Supreme Court. Consequently, the presidency has become a crucial and highly influential position in Venezuela. Following Maduro's selection in 2013, inflation in Venezuela skyrocketed. The country experienced numerous anti-government protests between 2014 and 2017. According to the UN, more than 7.7 million Venezuelans have left the country since 2015. Nicolás Maduro was re-elected in 2018 in the presidential election. In 2019, the divided opposition in Venezuela decided to unite under its speaker Juan Guaidó. By that time, more than 50 countries, including the US and the UK, had recognized Mr. Guaidó as Venezuela's legitimate leader, while Russia and China supported Maduro. On January 28, 2019, the United States imposed sanctions on Venezuela's state-owned oil firm, PDVSA, due to concerns over corruption. In response to these sanctions and the broader political crisis, opposition forces in Venezuela began efforts to overthrow the Nicolás Maduro government. Juan Guaidó, who had declared himself interim president, led these efforts with support from several countries, including the US. This led to a prolonged and contentious struggle for power in Venezuela. But when Guaidó failed to topple the Maduro government after numerous attempts, most of the opposition parties withdrew their support from him in December 2022. This marked a significant shift in the political landscape, as the opposition sought new strategies to challenge Maduro's rule. Citizens are still protesting on the streets of Venezuela, demanding freedom from the Maduro government and seeking meaningful change in their country. Their calls for reform reflect deep-seated frustration with the current regime. However, past events suggest a troubling pattern. In response to protests in 2017 and 2019, Maduro resorted to severe repression, deploying state security forces and his loyal armed groups known as colectivos. These groups, which are fiercely loyal to the government and have a vested interest in preserving the current regime, have been involved in violent crackdowns on dissent.